thinking of relocating back to Zimbabwe, whether you're working in South Africa, whether you're working in UK, whether you're working in Dubai, whether you're working in Mozambique, whether you're in the States, I have an inspiring story of a couple, the Guru family, who actually relocated back to Zimbabwe from the UK. Let's get into their story and understand why they chose to relocate to Zimbabwe and how they are coping up with the Zimbabwean economy.
Please give us an update on how you found the move to Zimbabwe. So for anyone who doesn't know, we are a family of four who moved to Zimbabwe from the UK 6 months ago now. We've got two small kids. They were both under 4 at the time of the move, and we are finding it okay at the moment. We're still settling in. It just takes time. Zimbabwe wasn't our first choice. We did want to go somewhere a bit nearer to the UK just because it's really quite far away and we hadn't been here before as a family. But when we actually weighed up all the pros and cons, we already had property here in Zim, and we knew that we weren't going to have to worry about rental cost or anything like that. So that was one of the main reasons which brought us here. Plus, obviously, Tanashi is Zimbabwean, so it just made sense for us to experience some culture from his side, and obviously our girls, we wanted them to learn their heritage and things like that.
Husband is actually a Zimbabwean and the wife is from UK. So the husband left Zimbabwe at the age of 17 and he actually spent it around 20 years in the UK, and they got married and they have got 2 children. She actually stated 2 things that someone need to learn or to get note of. She stated the issue of reuniting the family. She also stated the issue of saying that she had a property here in Zimbabwe. Let's talk about the issue of reuniting the family. There's a certain point in life that you feel like, I just want to reunite with my bloodline. Home is the best. It's only because you feel like you need your family, you need your siblings, you need your mother, you need to see your grandmother. Home is the best. There's always that atmosphere that you feel when you say to yourself, I want to go back home. You feel very comfortable. So if you're someone who is planning to relocate to Zimbabwe, I'm saying home is the best. There's a healing in just uniting with your family. Then secondly, she mentioned that she had a property here in Zimbabwe. They actually had a property in Zimbabwe. What if you are planning to come back here to Zimbabwe? You've been working in South Africa, in Dubai, or USA, or whatsoever. Do you have a property? Do you have somewhere to say to yourself that I'm going to my house, or you're actually relocating and starting at zero? It's actually not going to be friendly or good for you if you're someone who has actually no property, no source of business, no anything to say to yourself, I want to go and live there. Because if you come here and start paying rent, just take an example, if you start staying in low density suburbs like the avenues, like the Borodale, like Westgate here, you'll be paying rents of around $800 a month. But if you're someone who actually invested in buying property in Zimbabwe, you know that you won't be paying any rent. So this is another advice for someone who is actually who's planning to come back to Zimbabwe. Let's get into the side of the story and hear how she actually compares the economy of Zimbabwe to the economy of someone who is staying in the UK.
If you was to ask me if I prefer Zimbabwe or the UK, I'd say Zimbabwe, but we've only been here for 6 weeks, so we haven't really lived here for that long to decide which one we'll want to stay properly long term. But for this point of our life, definitely Zimbabwe. Many things, but the simple things like the weather, the space that we've got at the house, the way the kids feel here and the way that they behave, just everything. Overall Zimbabwe at the minute, obviously, compared to things that are going on in the UK. But I don't know, in the future things might change.
You want to leave Zimbabwe to the UK, she has some advice for you.
Morning everyone, just thought I'd answer this question about what advice we would give to Zimbabweans wanting to move to the UK. For me personally, I was born in the UK, moved to Spain, back to the UK, and now in Zimbabwe. And then Tanashi was born in Zimbabwe, moved to the UK when he was 17, and has been in the UK ever since, so a good 20 years now. And obviously now we're back in Zimbabwe. So I would say, if you have an opportunity to go and try it, because you won't know if you like something until you've tried it. But if I was to say to somebody that they should actively try and go, or maybe spend so much money in trying to get their visa and everything, just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because it's an awful lot of work and money if you're not 100% sure It's very, very different way of life there. A lot of people in the UK are moving overseas, maybe not to Zimbabwe, but definitely into Europe, Thailand, those sorts of places, because the quality of life is practically non-existent. People will say in Zimbabwe that you're just surviving and not living. But to just compare it, the housing situation is very different. The things that we don't have as basic here, like gas, electric, water, is basic there. So if you were to go there for a holiday or a trip, you would think it was maybe brilliant because you're not used to having those things as just like, being there as standard. But to actually live there and pay for the high rentals, the high monthly cost, high grocery costs, it's different. It's so different, and I don't think you would ever know what I'm talking about unless you'd actually tried both. But if you are going to go there, definitely try and look for the right sector to work in. A lot of people who are going are working in the care sector. I would say if you can try and get into support work rather than care work, it'll be a hell of a lot easier mentally. Care work is normally focused on elderly domiciliary care, and it can be quite challenging. You'd be doing maybe 8 to 12 hour shifts, and it's very physically and mentally exhausting. But support work, it'd be where you'd be supporting an individual that maybe has learning disabilities or something like that, so they don't need 100% care, physical care, whereas an elderly person would. So I'd definitely
my content. I share information about rural Zimbabwe, about relocation content. Please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment, and also liking.